The massive crystal hall stretched for miles in every direction, filled with the sounds of celebration and victory. Thousands of alien beings from across the galaxy had gathered for the most important day in their history. Today marked exactly 500,000 years since they had won their greatest battle. Today they celebrated the complete destruction of Earth and every single human who had ever lived. Zarketh. The Velkari stood at the center podium, his 6 arms raised high as his voice boomed through the translators. His purple skin gleamed under the bright lights as he spoke to the crowd. My fellow conquerors, we gather today to remember our greatest triumph. 500,000 years ago, we faced our most dangerous enemy. The humans of Earth dared to challenge our right to rule the galaxy. They fought us with weapons we had never seen. They used strategies that confused our greatest minds, but we won. The crowd cheered and stamped their feet. Some aliens had tentacles that they waved in the air. Others had wings that they flapped with joy. The noise was so loud that the crystal walls shook. Zarketh waited for the sound to die down before he continued. The humans thought they were special. They thought they could stop us from taking what was ours. They built ships that could move faster than light. They created weapons that could destroy entire planets. They even made thinking machines that could plan battles better than any living mind. But none of it mattered in the end. Near the back of the hall, a figure in a maintenance uniform moved quietly between the support pillars. The uniform was dirty and worn, and the person inside looked just like any other worker. Nobody paid attention as the figure attached small devices to the crystal walls. The devices were so tiny that they looked like dust specks. The figure's name was Da'un, though none of the celebrating aliens knew this. Zarketh continued his speech. We surrounded their planet with 1 million ships. We blocked out their sun with our fleets. We bombed their cities until nothing was left but ash and smoke. We hunted down every human ship that tried to escape. We found their secret bases on distant moons. We destroyed their colonies on far planets. When we were done, not a single human remained alive anywhere in the galaxy. The crowd erupted in cheers again. Some aliens threw objects into the air that exploded into colorful lights. Others released gases that created beautiful patterns in the atmosphere. The celebration was so intense that the floor vibrated under their feet. Da'un finished placing the last device and moved toward another section of the hall. Her face was calm and showed no emotion as she listened to the speech. She had heard these same words many times before. Every year for the past 5 centuries, the aliens held this same celebration. Every year they told the same story about how they had defeated the humans. Every year, they were wrong. Another alien took the podium. This one was Thrak, the Zephyrian, a creature that looked like a giant insect with crystal wings. His voice buzzed as he spoke. The humans were clever. I will give them that. They almost fooled us with their final trick. As we destroyed their homeworld, they launched thousands of small ships into space. They thought they could escape and rebuild somewhere else. But we were ready for them. Thrak activated a holographic display that showed the space around Earth, 500,000 years ago. The image showed the planet burning as alien ships fired their weapons at the surface. Then it showed smaller human ships fleeing in all directions. We followed every single one of those ships. Our hunters chased them to the edge of the galaxy. Some humans tried to hide in asteroid fields. Others attempted to reach distant star systems where they thought we would never find them. A few even tried to fly beyond our galaxy to the dark. Space between stars. It did not matter. We caught them all. The hologram showed alien ships destroying the fleeing human vessels one by one. Each explosion was met with cheers from the crowd. Da'un watched the display with interest, though her expression never changed. She knew the truth about those ships, but she said nothing. Near the front of the hall, another maintenance worker was checking the air recycling systems. His name was Jamin, and like Da'un, he looked completely ordinary. His tools appeared to be standard equipment, but hidden inside each tool were advanced scanning devices. As he worked, he mapped every security system and weapon placement in the entire station. Thrak pointed to specific parts of the hologram. The last human ship was destroyed exactly 499,999 years ago. Its name was the Hope of Tomorrow, and it carried the final 300 humans who had survived our great hunt. We cornered them near a dead star at the edge of known space. They fought bravely, but they were no match for our superior numbers and technology. The crowd loved this part of the story. They always did. Some aliens began chanting the names of their ancestors who had participated in the final battle. Others performed traditional victory dances that their species had practiced for millions of years. What the aliens did not know was that the hope of tomorrow had never carried any humans at all. It had been filled with advanced computer systems that created fake life signs to fool the alien scanners. The real humans had already been hidden away long before that final battle ever happened. A third alien stepped forward to speak. This was Mordak the Brutal, a massive creature covered in thick armor plates. His species were known throughout the galaxy as the finest warriors who had ever lived. Mordak's voice was deep and threatening as he addressed the crowd. Some of you younger beings might wonder why we still celebrate this ancient victory. You might think that 500,000 years is too long to remember one small planet and its people, but you would be wrong to think this way. The humans were not just another species we conquered. They were the greatest threat our civilization had ever faced. Mordak activated his own holographic display. This one showed battles from the war against Earth. Human ships moved with impossible speed and precision. Their weapons cut through alien defenses like they were made of paper. Human soldiers fought with such skill and determination that even Mordak's own people had struggled to defeat them. Look at these battles, and remember why we must never forget. The humans had been in space for less than 1,000 years when we first encountered them. Most species take 1,000,000 years to develop the technology they possessed. They learned faster than any race we had ever seen. They adapted to our tactics almost instantly. They created new weapons and defenses faster than we could counter them. In the engineering section of the station, a third figure worked silently on the power distribution systems. Her name was Ye Jin, and she appeared to be just another technician doing routine maintenance. But the modification she was making would allow her to shut down the entire station's defenses at a moment's notice. Mordak's display showed more scenes from the war. Human cities that refused to surrender even when surrounded. Human scientists, who continued working on new technologies even as their laboratories burned around them. Human children who helped build weapons and supplies for the resistance. The humans never gave up. Even when we had destroyed 90% of their population, the survivors kept fighting. Even when we had taken control of their planet, they launched surprise attacks from hidden bunkers. Even when we thought we had won, they continued to resist. That is why we must remember this day. That is why we must never allow another species like them to rise again. The celebration continued for hours. Aliens shared stories of their own conquests and victories. They displayed trophies taken from defeated worlds. They performed songs and dances that celebrated the glory of their empire. Through it all, Da-Yun, Jaemin, and Ye-Jin continued their work, preparing for something the aliens could never imagine. As the festivities reached their peak, none of the celebrating aliens noticed the small signals being transmitted from the devices hidden throughout the station. The signals traveled instantly across the galaxy, reaching receivers on distant worlds and hidden bases. After 500,000 years of waiting, the message was finally being sent. The message was simple and contained only 2 words. Phase 1. 500,000 years earlier, Earth burned under alien fire, while Admiral Sora stood on the bridge of her flagship watching her world die. The enemy fleet covered the sky like a dark cloud, their weapons turning cities into glass and mountains into dust. Every few seconds, another human defense platform exploded in bright flashes that lit up the darkness of space. "Admiral, we have confirmation from all evacuation sites," reported her communications officer, a young man named Tae-Ho, whose voice remained steady despite the chaos around them. "The Deep Seed Protocol is ready for activation. All volunteer crews are in position." Sora nodded as she watched another section of Earth's surface disappear under alien bombardment. She had known this day would come eventually. The humans had fought the aliens for 3 years, winning many battles and destroying countless enemy ships. But the aliens had too many worlds, too many soldiers, and too much time. Earth could not win a war of numbers. "How many seeds are ready? For launch?" Sora asked, though she already knew the answer. 47,000, Admiral. Each one contains everything we discussed. Genetic samples from 10,000 volunteers, complete cultural and technical databases, and most importantly, the sleeper crews. The sleeper crews were the heart of the Deep Seed Protocol. Each ship carried 50 humans in advanced cryogenic pods that could keep them alive for millions of years if necessary. These people had volunteered to sleep until the galaxy was ready for humanity's return. They were soldiers, scientists, engineers, teachers, and leaders who would wake up only when specific conditions were met. And the AI cores? Sora asked. All 47,000 ships have them installed. Hyun-Soo designed them himself before the war started. Each AI will wake up its crew when it detects that 500,000 years have passed and when it confirms that human genetic signatures are present in galactic civilization. Hyun-Soo had been Earth's greatest computer scientist before the war began. He had predicted that the aliens would eventually discover Earth and try to destroy humanity. Working in secret for decades, he had designed the Deep Seed Protocol as humanity's insurance policy. If Earth fell, humanity would survive in hidden form until the time was right to reveal themselves again. The bridge shook as enemy fire hit their shields. Warning lights flashed red as damage reports came in from all sections of the ship. Sora knew they had very little time left before the alien fleet would overwhelm their defenses completely. "Begin the launch sequence," she ordered. "Send our seeds to the stars." All across the solar system, human ships that looked like ordinary cargo vessels and mining equipment began moving toward jump points. To alien sensors, they appeared to be refugees fleeing the battle or civilian ships trying to escape the destruction. The aliens paid little attention to these small vessels as they focused their attacks on Earth's military forces. The real genius of the plan was in the ships themselves. Each seed ship was designed to look like space debris after it reached its destination. Advanced stealth systems would make them appear to be asteroids or comets drifting through empty space. Internal systems would shut down to the minimum level needed to keep the sleepers alive. The ships would remain hidden until their AI cores detected the right conditions for awakening. "First wave away," Taeho reported. 15,000 seeds have successfully jumped to their target coordinates. Sora watched the tactical display as green dots representing the seed ships disappeared one by one. Each dot represented 50 sleeping humans and the complete knowledge of their civilization. Each dot was a chance for humanity to return someday and reclaim its place in the galaxy. "Second wave launching now," came another report. "Alien forces are pursuing some of the ships, but our escort fleets are keeping them busy." The escort fleets were a crucial part of the plan. These were larger military vessels that would fight the aliens openly while the real seed ships escaped. The escorts would eventually be destroyed, but their sacrifice would ensure that the aliens focused on the wrong targets. Young Hyun-Soo sat in his laboratory deep underground, surrounded by computer screens and holographic displays. His fingers moved rapidly across multiple keyboards as he made final adjustments to the AI systems that would guide humanity's future. He was only 25 years old, but his mind had already created technologies that were centuries ahead of anything the aliens possessed. "Status report on the seed AIs," he called out to his assistants. "All 47,000 cores are online and responding normally," replied his lead programmer, a woman named Bo-Ra. "Each AI has confirmed receipt of the complete cultural database, technical specifications, and awakening protocols. The cultural database contained everything that made humans who they were: literature, music, art, philosophy, history, and the stories of every major human civilization. The technical specifications included blueprints for every human technology, from simple tools to advanced starships. But most importantly, each AI carried detailed plans for technologies that humans had not yet invented. Hyun-Soo had spent years developing theoretical advances in physics, engineering, biology, and computer science. He had created designs for weapons that could punch through any alien defense, ships that could travel faster than anything in the known galaxy, and manufacturing systems that could build vast fleets from raw materials found on any planet. "The beauty of the plan," Hyun-Soo explained to Bo-Ra as he worked, "is that we will not just survive. We will evolve. Each seed ship carries genetic modification technology that will allow the sleepers to adapt to any environment they encounter. By the time they wake up, they will be stronger, smarter, and more capable than any human who has ever lived. Above them, The battle for Earth continued to rage. Human defense platforms made their final stands against overwhelming odds. Fighter pilots flew suicide missions to buy a few more minutes for the evacuation. Ground forces held defensive positions until their ammunition ran out, then switched to hand-to-hand combat rather than surrender. "Third wave away," Tejo announced from the bridge of Sora's flagship. "All siege ships have successfully reached minimum safe distance. The aliens are still focused on our military targets." Sora felt a moment of relief, but she knew the hardest part was still ahead. The alien commanders were not stupid. Eventually, they would realize that thousands of human ships had escaped during the battle. They would organize pursuit fleets and hunting expeditions to track down every vessel that had fled Earth. "Activate the Ghost Protocol," Sora ordered. The Ghost Protocol was the final element of their deception. Hidden among the real siege ships were decoy vessels filled with advanced holographic projectors and computer systems. These ships would transmit fake life signs and energy signatures to fool alien sensors. When the aliens found and destroyed these decoys, they would believe they had eliminated all the escaping humans. "Ghost ships are responding," Tejo confirmed. "They are broadcasting false signatures at maximum range. Alien pursuit fleets are already changing course to intercept them." The plan was working perfectly, but Sora felt no satisfaction. She was watching her species die so that it might someday live again. Every human ship destroyed, every city burned, every life lost was a price paid for an uncertain future that might never come. "Admiral, we are receiving a priority transmission from Dr. Hyan Su," announced the communications officer. "Put him through." Hyan Su's face appeared on the main screen. He looked tired but determined as he spoke. "Admiral, the AI cores are ready for final activation. Once I give the command, they will enter deep hibernation mode and will not respond to any outside signals until the awakening conditions are met. This will be our last communication until the seeds wake up." Sora nodded. "Do it, Doctor. Send our children to sleep among the stars." "There is one more thing," Hyun-Soo added. "I am uploading my own consciousness into the lead AI core. If any of the seeds survive, I will be there to guide them when they wake up. I will remember everything that happened here today, and I will make sure they know why we made this sacrifice." The screen went dark as Hyun-Soo activated the final sequence. Across the galaxy, 47,000 siege ships powered down their external systems and became indistinguishable from space debris. Inside each vessel, 50 humans entered the deepest sleep possible, while their AI guardians began a wait that would last 500,000 years. Sora turned back to the tactical display as enemy fire destroyed the last of Earth's orbital defenses. The planet below was already dead, its surface covered in radiation and fire. But humanity's real future was now drifting silently through space, waiting for the right moment to bloom again. "All hands prepare for our final battle," she announced over the ship's communication system. "We may not live to see tomorrow, but our species will survive. When our children wake up, they will be stronger than we ever were. They will be ready to take back what is ours." The flagship's engines roared to life as Sora led the last human fleet toward the alien armada. They would buy as much time as possible for the siege ships to reach their hiding places. They would fight until the last ship was destroyed and the last human was dead. But they would not really be the last humans. Scattered across the galaxy, 47,000 ships full of sleeping people drifted through the void. The first siege ship awakened near a red star at the edge of the galaxy, exactly 500,000 years after Earth died. Inside the vessel, systems that had slept for millennia began to hum with power as the AI core detected the programmed activation signals. 50 cryogenic pods started their warming cycles, gradually bringing their occupants back to life after the longest sleep in human history. Da-Un was the first to open her eyes. She had been a Special Forces operative before the war, trained in infiltration and long-term reconnaissance missions. The AI had chosen her to be the team leader because her psychological profile showed she could adapt to any situation without losing her humanity. As consciousness returned to her body, she felt the familiar weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. "Status report," she whispered to the AI as her throat adjusted to speaking again. "All crew members are awakening successfully," replied the synthetic voice that sounded exactly like young Hyun-Soo from 500,000 years ago. "Ship systems are operating at optimal levels. We have reached our assigned position in the Kepler sector, approximately 40,000 light-years from the former location of Earth. Da-Yun sat up slowly, letting her body adjust to movement after so long in stasis. Around her, the other 49 members of her team were also beginning to wake up. She recognized faces from the old days. Ki-Wan, the engineer, Hei-In, the communications specialist, Dong-Hyun, the intelligence analyst, and dozens of others who had volunteered for this impossible mission. "What is the current state of galactic civilization?" Da-Un asked. "Scanning complete," the AI responded. "The Alien Alliance has established total control over known space. They have built an empire spanning 12 million inhabited worlds. Human genetic signatures have been completely eliminated from all official records. However, deep analysis of galactic communication networks reveals interesting patterns." Da-Yun raised an eyebrow. "What kind of patterns?" "There are 46,917 seed ships that have successfully reached their destinations and maintained operational status. All crews have awakened according to schedule. More importantly, preliminary infiltration has already begun." This was news that Da-Un had not expected. According to the original plan, each seed ship was supposed to wake up independently and then spend years establishing contact with the others. But somehow, the process was happening much faster than anyone had anticipated. "Show me," Da-Un commanded. The AI activated a holographic display that filled the ship's main cabin. The image showed a three-dimensional map of the galaxy with tiny, green dots scattered throughout. Each dot represented a seed ship that had successfully awakened. But what caught Da-Yun's attention were the red lines connecting many of the dots. "Communication networks are already established between 70% of the awakened ships," the AI explained. "The crews are using quantum entanglement transmitters that I developed during the 500,000-year hibernation period. The aliens cannot detect or intercept these signals." Da-Yun studied the display with growing amazement. While the seed ships had slept, their AI cores had continued working. They had improved upon Hyeon-Su's original designs, creating new technologies that were far beyond anything that had existed during the war with Earth. The sleeping humans had not just survived, they had evolved. "What else have you been working on?" Da-Un asked. "Many things," the AI replied with what sounded almost like pride. "I have designed new starship engines that are 300 times faster than the best alien technology. I have created weapons that can penetrate any known defense system. I have developed manufacturing processes that can build a complete battle fleet from the raw materials found on a single asteroid." Ki-Wan had finished his awakening process and was now studying the technical readouts on his personal display. As the ship's chief engineer, he was responsible for understanding and implementing whatever improvements the AI had developed during their long sleep. "This is incredible," Ki-Wan said, as he scrolled through page after page of technical specifications. "These engine designs use principles of physics that we had only theorized about before the war. And these weapon systems, they are not just more powerful than what we had, they are completely revolutionary." Hei-In was examining the communication systems while Dong-Hyun analyzed intelligence reports from across the galaxy. Both of them looked increasingly excited as they discovered what had been accomplished during their hibernation. "The infiltration plan is already working better than we ever hoped," Hei-In announced. "According to these reports, humans from other seed ships have been establishing themselves in alien society for the past 2 centuries. They are working as traders, technicians, bureaucrats, and laborers throughout the galaxy." Dong-Hyun added his own findings. "The aliens have no idea what is happening. They think these infiltrators are just members of various alien species who happen to be particularly skilled or intelligent. The genetic modification technology has allowed our people to blend in perfectly with dozens of different alien races." Da-Un felt a surge of hope as she realized the full scope of what they had achieved. The original plan had been simply to survive until humanity could rebuild itself on some distant world. But what was actually happening was far more ambitious. Humanity was not just surviving, it was secretly taking control of the galaxy from within. "Show me the infiltration reports," she ordered. The holographic display changed to show detailed information about human operatives working throughout alien space. On the industrial world of Vectara Prime, a human named Su-Bin was working as a computer technician while secretly planting advanced viruses in the planetary defense networks. On the trade hub of Zorlan Station, a human called Wu Jin had become a shipping coordinator and was using his position to map every supply route and strategic resource in 3-star sectors. The reports continued for hours. Humans were everywhere, hidden in plain sight among the aliens who thought they had destroyed Earth's people forever. They worked in shipyards where they subtly sabotaged military vessels. They served in government offices where they copied secret documents and strategic plans. They operated communication relays where they could monitor and manipulate information flow across entire regions of space. How many of our people are currently active in alien society? Da-Yun asked. Current estimates indicate approximately 2 million human operatives working throughout the galaxy, the AI replied. This number includes both individuals who have awakened from seed ships and their descendants who have been born and raised within alien civilization. Da-Yun was shocked. Descendants? How is that possible? Some seed ships awakened earlier than scheduled due to specific local conditions. These crews have been active for up to 200 years, during which time they have established families and communities while maintaining their cover identities. The genetic modification technology has allowed them to produce children who appear to be members of whatever alien species they are impersonating. Kiwan looked up from his technical studies. This means we are not just individuals anymore. We are a complete hidden civilization that has grown up inside alien space. We have our own culture, our own technology, and our own long-term plans. What are those plans? Da-Un asked. The AI paused for a moment before responding. The overall strategy has evolved significantly since the original Deep Seed Protocol was designed. Rather than simply rebuilding human civilization on new worlds, the awakened crews have decided to reclaim the entire galaxy through coordinated infiltration and eventual revelation. Hei-In activated her communication systems and began receiving real-time reports from human operatives across the galaxy. The messages painted a picture of a vast underground network that had been growing in secret for centuries. Listen to this, she said, reading from one of the reports. Our people have identified critical weaknesses in alien military and economic systems. We have access to their most sensitive communication networks. We have detailed maps of every important installation and weapon system they possess. When the time comes for revelation, we will be able to neutralize their ability to resist almost instantly. Dong-Hyun was studying strategic analyses that had been prepared by human intelligence cells on dozens of worlds. The aliens have grown weak and complacent during their 500,000 years of unopposed rule. They no longer maintain the same level of military readiness that they had during the war with Earth. Their technology has advanced very slowly because they have faced no serious challenges. Meanwhile, Kiwan added, our technology has advanced exponentially. The AI cores have had 500,000 years to work on improvements without interruption. We now possess capabilities that would seem like magic to the aliens. Da-Un felt a deep sense of satisfaction as she realized what her species had accomplished. The aliens thought they had won the greatest victory in galactic history when they destroyed Earth. Instead, they had simply delayed the inevitable. Humanity had not just survived. It had become something far more dangerous than it had ever been before. When does the revelation begin? She asked. Phase 1 has already started, the AI replied. Human operatives are currently in position throughout alien space. The first sign that something was wrong came during the morning briefing at the Galactic Council's military headquarters on Zenthari Prime. Admiral Vorthak was reviewing routine security reports when his communications officer interrupted with an urgent message. Sir, we are receiving reports of technical malfunctions across 17 sectors, the officer announced, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly with concern. Communication networks are experiencing unexplained failures. Several military installations have lost contact with Central Command. Vorthak's serpentine body coiled with irritation. Technical problems were not supposed to happen in their perfectly ordered empire. The aliens had spent 500,000 years building the most advanced civilization in galactic history. Their technology was supposed to be flawless. What kind of malfunctions? Vorthak demanded. The reports are inconsistent, sir. Some bases report complete communication blackouts. Others say their computer systems are displaying strange error messages. A few installations claim their defense systems have been completely shut down by unknown commands. At that exact moment, Subin was sitting in a maintenance facility on the industrial world of Krogar 7, her fingers dancing across multiple keyboards as she executed commands that would have been impossible for any alien to understand. Around her, holographic displays showed the real-time status of military networks across half the galaxy. Subin had been born on this world 23 years ago to parents who were descendants of Seed Ship 15. She had grown up appearing to be a member of the native Krogarian species, with gray skin and six-fingered hands that made her perfect for computer work. But hidden beneath her alien appearance was a mind that had been enhanced with 500,000 years of accumulated human knowledge. Network infiltration at 70%, she reported through the quantum communication system that connected her to human operatives across the galaxy. Alien military command structures are more vulnerable than we anticipated. I am initiating Phase 2 protocols now. The Phase 2 protocols had been designed to demonstrate human technological superiority without revealing the full extent of their capabilities. Subin's task was to create seemingly random technical failures that would gradually escalate into obvious signs of coordinated attack. On the screen in front of her, she watched as alien military bases began reporting system failures one by one. Each failure looked like a different type of technical problem, but all of them had been caused by the same source: advanced computer viruses that had been hiding in alien networks for decades. Meanwhile, on the trade station orbiting Nexus 4, Wu Jin was implementing his own part of the plan. As a shipping coordinator, he had access to the cargo manifests and route schedules for thousands of merchant vessels. With a few keystrokes, he began redirecting supply shipments away from military bases and toward civilian worlds that needed those resources more. Economic disruption phase initiated, Wu Jin reported. Critical supply lines are being rerouted. Military installations will begin experiencing shortages within 48 hours. The beauty of the plan was that each individual action seemed like a minor problem that could be easily explained. Computer systems failed sometimes. Supply shipments got lost or misdirected. Communication networks experienced interference. But when thousands of these small problems happened simultaneously across the galaxy, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Back on Zenthari Prime, Admiral Vorthak was beginning to realize that something much more serious was happening. Reports were flooding in from every corner of the galaxy. Military bases were losing power. Warships were developing engine problems. Defense satellites were shutting down for no apparent reason. "Sir, we are now receiving reports from 43 sectors," his communications officer announced. "The malfunctions appear to be spreading. Some commanders are requesting permission to declare emergency protocols." Vorthak's mind raced as he tried to understand what was happening. The problems were too widespread and too coordinated to be random technical failures. But who could possibly have the capability to attack their empire on such a massive scale? They had eliminated every potential threat centuries ago. "Activate the emergency council session," Vorthak ordered. "Contact all sector commanders and demand full status reports, and send investigation teams to analyze these technical failures. I want to know what is causing them." As the alien leadership scrambled to respond to the crisis, Phase 2 entered its next stage. Jamin stood on the bridge of what appeared to be a simple asteroid mining vessel drifting through space near the Cygnus Nebula. But the ship's ordinary appearance was just another layer of deception. "All systems green," reported his tactical officer, a woman named Eunji, whose expertise in advanced weapons systems would have impressed any human military engineer from the old Earth days. "The stealth modifications are working perfectly. Alien sensors still read us as a standard commercial mining platform." Jamin smiled as he looked at the tactical display showing nearby alien patrol ships. Those ships were equipped with the most advanced sensors the alien empire could build, but they could not detect the massive weapons array hidden inside his vessel's hull. "Target selection complete," Yunji announced. "We have identified 17 military installations within strike range. Recommended engagement pattern will create maximum psychological impact while minimizing actual casualties." This was an important part of the plan. The humans did not want to start a war of extermination like the one that had destroyed Earth. Instead, they wanted to demonstrate their superior capabilities while leaving room for eventual peaceful resolution. "Begin the demonstration," Jamin ordered. The mining ship's hull sections slid apart to reveal weapon systems that operated on principles unknown to alien science. Energy beams lanced out across space, striking military targets with surgical precision. Alien defense platforms simply vanished as the human weapons passed through their shields like they did not exist. Within minutes, 17 of the aliens' most heavily defended installations had been reduced to scrap metal floating in space. But the attacks had been carefully planned to avoid areas where personnel were located. The message was clear. The humans could have killed everyone if they had wanted to, but they had chosen not to. All targets neutralized, Yunji reported. 0 alien casualties confirmed. Their defensive systems offered no resistance to our weapons. Similar demonstrations were taking place across the galaxy as other human ships revealed themselves and displayed capabilities that should have been impossible. Alien fleets found themselves facing vessels that could appear and disappear at will. Military commanders watched in shock as their most powerful weapons had no effect on the mysterious attackers. The psychological impact was exactly what the humans had intended. For 500,000 years, the aliens had believed themselves to be the undisputed masters of the galaxy. Nothing could challenge their technology or their military might. But now, they were facing an enemy that made their greatest achievements look like primitive tools. On Zenthari Prime, the Emergency Council session was descending into chaos as reports continued to arrive from across the Empire. Alien leaders who had spent their entire lives believing in their own superiority were struggling to accept what they were seeing. "The attacks are too coordinated," insisted General Throck, his tentacles writhing with agitation. "This cannot be the work of any known species. We have detailed records of every civilization in the galaxy. None of them possess this level of technology." "Could it be a rebellion from within our own ranks?" suggested Counselor Zephyx. "Perhaps one of our member species has secretly developed new weapons." Admiral Vorthak studied the tactical reports with growing dread. The attack patterns showed a level of strategic thinking and technological capability that reminded him of something from the old historical records. Something that had been buried and forgotten for 500,000 years. "No," he said slowly, his voice barely above a whisper. "This is not a rebellion. This is something much worse." At that moment, every communication screen in the council chamber activated simultaneously. The alien leaders found themselves looking at a human face for the first time in 500,000 years. It was Da-Un, speaking from the command center of her seed ship. "Greetings, leaders of the Galactic Council," she said in perfect translation that was broadcast in every alien language. "My name is Da-Un, and I represent the human species that you believed you had exterminated 500,000 years ago." The silence in the council chamber was absolute. Some of the alien leaders sat frozen in shock. Others began making protective gestures that their species used when confronting supernatural threats. "We have been watching you," Da-Un continued. "We have been living among you. We have been learning from you. And now we have returned to reclaim our place in the galaxy." Behind her, holographic displays showed the true scope of human infiltration. Faces of alien workers, technicians, and officials were revealed to be human operatives who had been hiding in plain sight for centuries. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. "You thought you had won the greatest victory in galactic history when you destroyed Earth," Da-Un said. Instead, the final confrontation did not come with massive space battles or the destruction of worlds. Instead, it arrived as a simple invitation delivered simultaneously to every alien government across the galaxy. The message was brief and impossible to ignore. Representatives of all species are invited to attend a conference on the neutral moon of Serenity's 7th. The future of galactic civilization will be decided there. Da-Un stood in the main assembly hall of the conference facility, watching as alien delegations arrived from across known space. The facility itself was a demonstration of human technological advancement. It had been constructed in just 72 hours from raw materials found on the moon's surface, using manufacturing systems that could reshape matter at the molecular level. The building was beautiful beyond anything the aliens had ever seen. Walls of crystalline material provided perfect acoustics while allowing natural light to filter through in patterns that seemed to shift and flow like living art. The air itself felt clean and energizing, enhanced with microscopic systems that optimized the atmospheric mixture for every species present. All major species are represented, reported Ha-In, who was serving as the conference coordinator. We have delegations from the Velkari Empire, the Zephyrian Federation, the Mordak, warrior clans, and 237 other civilizations. Even the most distant species have sent representatives. Da-Un nodded as she reviewed the final preparations. This moment had been planned for 500,000 years, and every detail had been carefully considered. The humans were not here to gloat about their survival or to demand revenge for Earth's destruction. They were here to offer something that the galaxy had never experienced before. True partnership between equals. "What is the status of our demonstration fleet?" Da-Un asked. "Fully deployed and visible to all sensor arrays," replied Jae-min from his position at the tactical station. 1,000 human vessels are currently stationed in high orbit around this moon. Each ship represents technology that surpasses anything in the alien arsenal by several centuries. The demonstration fleet was another carefully planned element of the conference. The ships were not hiding or attempting to appear weak. Instead, they openly displayed capabilities that should have been impossible. Vessels that were larger on the inside than on the outside thanks to space-folding technology. Engines that drew power directly from parallel dimensions. Weapons that could destroy entire star systems by manipulating fundamental forces of physics. But perhaps most impressive of all was what the ships did not do. Despite their overwhelming technological superiority, they made no threatening moves. They simply existed in space like monuments to human achievement, beautiful and terrible and completely peaceful. Elder Hyun-Su's consciousness had been transferred into the conference facility's main computer system, allowing him to observe the proceedings directly. 500,000 years of existence as an artificial intelligence had given him perspectives that no purely biological mind could possess. "The psychological impact is exactly what we calculated," Yeon-su reported to Da-Un through their private communication channel. "The alien delegations are experiencing a mixture of fear, awe, and curiosity. They know they cannot fight us, but they are not yet certain whether we intend to destroy them." Da-Un took her position at the central podium as the assembly hall filled with representatives from across the galaxy. Some aliens looked exactly as they had 500,000 years ago. Others had evolved or modified themselves during the long centuries of unchallenged dominance. But all of them shared the same expression of uncertainty as they faced the reality of humanity's return. "Welcome, representatives of galactic civilization," Da-Un began, her voice carried clearly to every corner of the vast hall by acoustic systems that made her sound as if she were speaking directly into each listener's ear. "I am Da-Un of the human species, and I speak for all descendants of Earth who have survived to see this day." The silence was complete. Thousands of alien beings from hundreds of worlds focused their attention on the human woman who represented their greatest fear and their greatest mystery. 500,000 years ago, your ancestors destroyed our homeworld and attempted to exterminate our entire species," Da-Un continued. "You believed you had succeeded. You built monuments to celebrate our destruction. You told stories about your great victory over the dangerous humans who dared to challenge your expansion." She paused, allowing the weight of those words to settle over the assembly. "You were wrong." The simple statement hung in the air like a physical presence. Every alien in the hall understood that their entire understanding of galactic history had been built on a fundamental error. "We did not die," Da-Un explained. "We evolved. While you celebrated our extinction, we were learning. While you grew comfortable in your unchallenged dominance, we were preparing. While you forgot that we had ever existed, we were becoming something greater than we had ever been before." On the walls around the assembly hall, holographic displays began showing the true scope of human infiltration throughout galactic civilization. Images of alien workers and officials were revealed to be human operatives who had been hiding in plain sight for centuries. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. For the past 500,000 years, we have been living among you. We have been your technicians and your traders. We have been your bureaucrats and your laborers. We have been watching you, learning from you, and preparing for this moment. Admiral Vorthak of the Velkari Empire stood up from his delegation's seating area. His purple skin had turned pale with shock, but his voice remained steady as he addressed Da-Un directly. "What do you want from us?" he asked. You clearly possess the power to destroy our civilization completely. Are you here to demand our surrender? Do you intend to enslave us as we once enslaved others? Da-Un smiled, and the expression was neither cruel nor mocking. Instead, it was genuinely warm and hopeful. We are here to offer you something that this galaxy has never experienced before, she replied. We are here to offer you partnership. The word created a ripple of confusion throughout the assembly. Partnership was not a concept that had ever existed between different species in galactic politics. The strong dominated the weak. Conquerors ruled over the conquered. But partnership implied equality between different peoples. What do you mean by partnership? Asked Counselor Zephix of the Zephyrian Federation. We mean cooperation between equals, Da-Un explained. We mean sharing knowledge and resources for the benefit of all species. We mean building a civilization based on mutual respect rather than domination and fear. She gestured to the holographic displays, which now showed images of incredible technological marvels. Cities that floated in the clouds of gas giant planets. Massive space habitats that could support billions of people in perfect comfort. Machines that could heal any disease or injury. Technologies that could provide unlimited clean energy for entire star systems. This is what we have learned to build during our 500,000 years of preparation, Da-Un continued. We could keep these advances to ourselves and use them to dominate the galaxy just as you once dominated us. But we choose a different path. The displays changed again, showing detailed technical specifications for some of the human technologies. The information was being transmitted freely to every alien delegation present. It was knowledge that would advance their civilizations by centuries, offered without any conditions or demands for payment. We offer to share our knowledge with any species willing to embrace peaceful cooperation, Da-Un announced. We offer to help you solve the problems that have plagued your worlds for millennia. We offer to work together to build something greater than any of us could achieve alone. General Throck of the Mordak warrior clans stood up, his massive form towering over the other delegates. And what happens to those who refuse your offer? He demanded. What happens to species that choose to maintain their independence? Nothing, Da-Un replied simply. You will be free to continue your existence exactly as you choose. We will not force anyone to join our partnership. We will not punish those who prefer isolation. We believe that cooperation must be voluntary. To have any real meaning, the general's tentacles writhed with confusion. In his experience, the strong always imposed their will on the weak. The idea of offering benefits without demanding submission was completely foreign to his understanding of power. However, Da-Un continued, we will no longer tolerate the oppression of weaker species by stronger ones. The age of conquest and domination is over. Any civilization that attempts to enslave or destroy others will find itself facing the combined opposition of all partnership members. This was the real foundation of the new order that humanity was proposing. Not rule by the strongest, but protection for the weakest. Not expansion through conquest, but growth through cooperation. Not dominance through fear, but leadership through example. Ka-Wan stepped forward to provide technical details about the partnership structure. As one of humanity's greatest engineers, he had helped design the systems that would make galactic cooperation possible. We propose the establishment of a true galactic community, he explained.